Thank you. All right, so welcome everyone. And today I would love to discuss about how understanding our sexuality affects our personal developments based on the culture context of Vietnam. So if it's emotional intelligence, self-awareness, personality, or knowledge or morality at a cornerstone of the personal development, sex will be the breakthrough point that we need to complete it before we want to step into a new cycle of growth. But in Vietnam, it's pretty sad that people tend to associate sex with sexual intercourse poorly. That's not enough. Sex is much more than that. It's including biological sex, right? Gender identity, sexual orientation, sexual fantasy, or behavior, interest, satisfactions, a lot of different kinds of things like that as well. And then for each new stage of our lives, our development, it should be accompanied by at least one new lessons about sexualities. And why I'm saying that? How? For example, have you know anyone who truly 100% happy and then they still concerned and cannot identify themselves their sexual orientation? Do you know anyone? I mean it's good have somebody who would say yes, but I promise they thought they are happy, but the moment they identify themselves right, they will say oh, I was not that happy like I thought. Right now, it's a true happiness. That's the thing. So you guys know for example, the earlier change in our body, for example, menstruations, or erection, and then after that is gender identity, or sexual orientation. That's every single step like that is happen in our puberty, and it needs to happen. And this is also our sex breakthrough point as well that actually help us to get into another kind of level. And and we doubt when we doubt ourselves in terms of sexuality, we always feel unsafe. For example, I spend hours to talk with my friends, and he's gay, okay, in his 40. About his struggling and pressure of living in the shell of a straight man, having wife and kid, even though he has a wealthy life, he is so well known in his industry as well, and fulfilling family obligation, but he has struggling for too many years and still in the survival mode. And do you want to be in the survival mode like that for too many years? Me, I don't. No. I want to have a happy life, But this is also showing us that recognizing and expressing ourselves as who we are is the first step to happiness. And the more we reject ourselves, the more we suffer. This is particularly evident in the LGBTQI+ and the kink community. And the moment you truly acknowledge who you are and accept it, you are no longer in conflict with yourself and have started the new chapter of happiness and self-awareness. It is so bright for myself as well until now. And I hope everybody over here can take a screenshot of this, because it's going to be some things for your motivation every single time you step into a new personal development cycle. And this is about sexual orientation, right? But more than that, we have another thing. That is our body and our feeling. So when we start to understand our body, our feeling, and we dare to explore our body and feel our own pleasure with different activity, and then we accept it, and we live in harmony with us, we will become much more confident in expressing ourselves in daily life. And remember, if you can face your weakness, your sexualities, they will never be a barrier to your life, your society, and your career. So like we have to be comfortable with ourselves before we want to be comfortable with the world, right? So you can see like when we're growing up until now, and we have like a lot of like personal development cycle is happened already, and we do have a lot of sex breakthrough point and sex lessons as well, right? But like I 100% gonna have somebody will tell me like, well, so how about monks and nuns? Okay, on the flip side, we have to know that TEDxYouth, the Zen master, he did agree that like they still recognize the sexualities, but instead of turning it into the sexual behavior, they transform the sexual energies to another form of energies. It's the spirit energies that which has helped them to find the breakthrough point in their meditation. So actually, they still have a sexual breakthrough point. It is about sex, but it's not sex, okay? Sexual breakthrough points at each state do not necessarily mean you have to experience this new thing, but rather acknowledge, embrace change without denying it. You know, like for the asexual team, the moment they understand and identify themselves asexual is really important. And this is the first step toward understanding their own needs. And like, this is not only like, you know, like help them to set up the expectation in the romantic relationship, but also like boost like confidence in the pursuit of happiness. But how about one day they realize like, no, I'm not asexual anymore. I'm demisexual. I'm brasexual. Is that okay? It's totally fine. We can change. The only thing we have to do that always be honest to ourselves. For every single moment in our life, that is really important. And I have one quote from TEDxYouth, really want to give it to you guys as well, that if you accept your body, then you have a chance to see your body as home. So if you don't accept your body, you cannot have a home. And if you don't accept your mind, you cannot be a home to yourself. That's awesome, huh? That's so sweet. I love him. And then, you know, like more than just like go through to the sexual like orientation, we go to another thing. It's like about the mindset, about like the experiences about sex. Let's talk about my story first, okay? So like in my first phase of self-love, I have learned that women's value is not based on virginity. Sounds pretty funny for young people right now, right? I know that like why like virginity is no longer a fact in building like self-worth for too many young people these days, but it was a standard and a model in Vietnam in the past. When I was younger, yes. And you know, like instead of teaching us about contraception, we were taught not to have sex before marriage to avoid pregnancy by using the beautiful term, the value of virginity, giá trị trinh tiết, you know, like that. Yeah, like, and did I believe it? I did. Sad. Did I pay off for that? I did. I lost myself for 3 years with the belief that I had to get married with the guy I have sex the first time. And you know, like I even believe that like I just need to be like patient and like keep doing like good things to him, and one day he gonna change. Hell no, he didn't change. No, but it's okay. Without that lessons, I'm not gonna be here, right? I'm not gonna work for the sex education industry, and I'm not gonna have a healthy relationship with my chồng over there. So that's awesome. No worry about that. See, everything's only needs to pay off, but it's gonna be good. And then, so that's my story. But we have another thing. So how about Vietnam's story? Vietnam has like the highest rate for abortion in Southeast Asia, and the 5th in the world. Every year is around 300,000 abortion cases are recorded in Vietnam. 30% of women aged from 15 to 19. 70% of them being students. You can see that like sex is remembered as taboo. The more we avoid it, the more we are at risk of being overturned. And the curiosity without proper knowledge is super dangerous. That's why was like that before, and also that much opportunity in Vietnam too, right? It's really sad. But like having a knowledge of sex can lead us to a better and also safer experience as well. It's just like when you build a house. You must lay a foundation first, right? And the stronger foundation, the better the house as well. And sex is a foundation, it's not a choice. Choice is like our sexual orientation, our fantasy, like our behavior, our interest. Okay, that's good. But like we have the same foundation. Like me, you, all of you guys over here, we have our own house. We're really happy who we are. We just like a really beautiful house is who we are. But we all need the same foundation, it's sex. Because like if you are safe, it is much easier for you to try and experience a new thing. But if you are not safe, you have no change, right? For example, if you got pregnant, what you're gonna deal with? Like, what happened? You have to deal with that things, right? And it costs you a lot of trauma as well before you want to try any good thing in sex. So, where can we learn safe sex and where can we learn sex education, especially in Vietnam? So I was inspired by my brain, like my beloved brain. They point out the reality that like we learn from porn, not from touch. We learn from mistake, not from exploration. And this is so true for Vietnam today. And you know that like Vietnam is like the highest, has the highest rate for accessing porn in the world as well, right? It's pretty sad. But like, you know, like with a lot of work in the past and in the future as well, me and a lot of people work in the sex education industry in Vietnam, we hope that in the near future, we can change. We can change, and we can change for the younger generation in Vietnam as well. That one day, we can say, we learn from touch, not from porn. We learn from exploration, not from mistake. And I hope it's gonna happen real soon. So sex is one of our human instincts, right? So we cannot just hide it from that. We need to face to that problem. We need to have a good foundation, but like to protect ourselves through consent, contraception, a knowledge of like STI, STD, to do what? So we can fully enjoy the journeys of exploring and like experiencing new things in like sexuality, like sexual orientation or like fantasy or like interest or behavior or satisfaction. But if we have it, we can do it. And also, it helps us to build a healthy personality as well. So, sex is a breakthrough point in every stage of development. So, let's break it down smoothly and honestly. And I wish you guys, all of you guys over here, can actually have like more than just enough information about sex education to enjoy your life and can be yourself as well. So like, you know, like our like TED Talk this time is a crystal unclear, right? Crystal can be unclear, but we need to be clear with ourselves, especially to our sexualities. And thanks a lot for listening to my presentation.